Hey there, I'm Trish, your host, labor nurse mama, and birth educator, and I'm here to help you have the best experience possible. Today, we're talking about a really important topic: how to avoid a cesarean. With C-section rates being so high, it's crucial to know how to boost your chances of a vaginal delivery. We're going to cover the risks of C-sections, why they happen, and I'm going to share some practical but enlightening tips to help you avoid one. Plus, I'll tell you all about my class that's packed with everything you need to know. But before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, our free training, 3 Insider Secrets to Overcome Fear for a faster, smoother birth. You can watch it right now at labornursemama.com/faster or find the link in the show notes. It's packed with great tips to help you feel more confident and prepared. All right, let's jump in. Let's go ahead and get started. If you're watching from YouTube, I'm going to be looking at different cameras, so you guys, it may look a little weird. I am so sorry ahead of time. Also going to be looking at my notes because y'all know if I don't stick with my notes, we're all in trouble. So the very first thing I'm going to tell you, if you don't know who I am, my name is Trish, or Labor Nurse Mama. I know we have gotten thousands of new followers in the last few days. So welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I am your new online nurse mama. I have a 16-year career as a labor and delivery nurse, and I'm a mom of 7. So come up, sit down, grab your raspberry tea, whatever you're drinking, and let's chat. So we're going to talk about understanding cesarean birth. So the first thing I want you guys to know is that I am not against cesareans. I am so stinking grateful that they exist, because if they didn't exist, there would be lots of mamas and babies who wouldn't be with us, because it does save lives. So I want you guys to know that there is an absolute need and reason for cesareans. Thank you that we have them. Thank you we have that technology and that ability. And the surgeons who perform them are incredible. We're so grateful to you. But, and a big but, they're done a lot of times when they probably aren't necessary. Sometimes that's just due to mama giving up and she's like, I'm done. Get this baby out of me. I'm done. Which, you know what? It's your choice. We support whatever choice you choose. But there's also this section of C-sections that are done out of convenience, or just, they're not getting creative with positioning or utilizing your body the way that your body actually works. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how to avoid those C-sections. If it is an emergency C-section or an emergent C-section, we don't want to avoid that, because we want a healthy baby. We want a safe and healthy mama. But we're talking about the ones that can be avoided. So I'm just going to tell y'all, number one, the most important thing you can do is educate yourself. Because if you're in this situation where a C-section is being recommended, but it's out of convenience, if you're not educated, you're not going to know it. And I am hyped up about this. And let me tell you why. Because the C-section rate in the United States is 32%. Do you truly, really think that 30% of our female birthing population needs a C-section to give birth? I don't. I challenge that. So we need to lower that rate. And you know what? It takes us doing it. It's not the hospital system. It's us. It's us educating ourselves, because the World Health Organization, I'm so fired up. I've not had any caffeine though, you guys, because I am on a juice fast, but apparently me plus juice is a lot of energy. Anyway, so the World Health Organization says that C-section rates should be 10 to 15%. So half of those C-sections are being done unnecessary. And here's the thing, 1 out of 10 of you will end up in the OR with the diagnosis of failure to progress. And I call BS on that diagnosis. That diagnosis is given way too often. I think it should be called failure to do your dang job, because we should be getting our moms up. We should be moving them. Our epidural moms, we should be doing more positions. And thank God for labor nurses, because so many labor nurses are educating themselves outside of what the hospital teaches them. They're doing things like spinning babies, and they're doing all these other really amazing ways to like up their skills, to level up outside of what the hospital tells them. And you can't mess with a labor nurse who knows her crap. That's true. Okay, so here's the things. There's two types of C-sections. There's medical necessity, and then there's elective. So, like I said, we're not going to mess with the really medical, urgent, necessary, emergent C-sections. Thank God for them. We are so glad. We are not saying that they're not worth it. We're not saying that. What we're saying is, let's step back from the ones that maybe we could do some things differently. So again, I'm going to ask you guys, what is the number one thing that you can do to avoid going back to the operating room? What is the number one thing? Somebody tell me, what is the number one thing? And I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. This is why I've dedicated my life to this, right? Birth education. Birth education. You have to know when and why it's necessary to have a cesarean. Yes, Laura, educate yourself. That is the number one first thing you can do is being prepared. Get educated. Because if you don't know the legit reasons for a C-section, then guess what? You're going to go along with whatever's being told is best for you. Isn't always best for you. So let's talk about risks with C-sections, because some of you are like, well, even if it's done out of convenience, what's the big deal? So there are a lot of risks when you have a major abdominal surgery. And this is not just another form of birth. It's belly births. And we celebrate our belly birth moms. I know and love so many belly birth moms. But C-section is a major abdominal surgery. And here's the kicker. It's the only major surgery that someone is actually expected to care for another person. So if you find yourself having a scheduled C-section or having a C-section, you deserve to have some help, because this is hard work. So some of the short-term risks are infections, blood clots, and you're going to have a longer postpartum recovery time. You just will, because you're recovering from birth and you're recovering from an abdominal surgery. So the next thing is the emotional and psychological impact that it can have on you as well. So I walk through this with my students. This is why we have our membership. And if you join my classes, you get 30 days free in our membership. And then we hope you stay, because the real power is in the postpartum side. Because you do all this prep for birth, you get ready for birth, then you bring a human home, and then you're like, now what? So we help our mamas navigate that. And we help them navigate the emotional and psychological impact. This is why I have a life coach and a mindset mental health expert inside of my community. She meets with my moms the last Thursday of every month, and they work through the trauma and the emotional and psychological impact that your birth can have on you. Because whether you have a C-section or not, your birth can mess with your head somewhat. Now, the long-term risk for having a cesarean is you have some risk for your future pregnancies. And most providers are going to put a cap on how many pregnancies they think you should have. And then there's all the normal surgical complications. So it's not super simple. And if you know someone in your life who's had a C-section, step your ass up and help her. Go do practical things. Do her laundry, do her cooking, help clean up her house, help care for other kids, because this is major abdominal surgery. Okay, so we're going to talk about failure to progress, because 1 out of 10 women will end up in the OR due to the diagnosis, and I say that with quotes, of failure to progress. So failure to progress could be maybe you're not dilating. Cervical dilation is stalled, right? Your labor slows or stalls, or it could be fetal positioning issues. Now, let's talk about fetal positioning. So maybe the baby is OP and just not coming down into the pelvis. Again, knowing how to open your pelvis, knowing how to relax your pelvic floor can help with that. But I'm pretty sure most doctors are not like, let's give your pelvic floor time to relax. No, they're going to take you back to the OR. So fetal positioning can be a legit reason for a C-section. If your baby is completely breech, then maybe. Now, there are some providers who will do a breech delivery, but not all moms want to do that. I almost did that with Gavin, but we got him to turn. But I wanted to have a breech delivery if not. I'm really glad that wasn't in my cards, but I was going to do it. Okay, so fetal positioning, if you find yourself with a breech baby and they're saying you need to have a C-section, I personally would do a couple things. One, get your booty in a swimming pool, go to a Webster certified chiropractor, head over to Spinning Babies and see a pelvic floor specialist. Sometimes it's just alignment is why the baby wants to get head down. So if the baby's not getting head down, there's a reason. So sometimes it's just getting everything back into order. It's all wonkadoodle. That's official, wonkadoodle. Okay, so now let's talk about slow or stalled labor or you're not dilating. I am going to stand out on the cliff right now. I'm going to go right to the edge of the cliff and I'm going to say slow and stalled labor and cervical dilation issues a lot of times are related to anxiety and how mom is being made to feel. Because when you go into labor with a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety, your body's going to work against the natural progress of labor. So our bodies are insanely incredible, and they work so powerfully, right? But here's the thing. We were not meant to be afraid of birth. We were meant to embrace it and love it and go into it with joy and happiness and calmness and peace and tools, right? You know, back in the day, the women in the village came alongside the other woman and they celebrated. It was a party. They're having a baby, bringing life into the world. And now a lot of women will surround you with horror stories and scare tactics. And oh my God, when I was pregnant and when I had my baby, this happened. Well, you know what? We can trace that back to a lack of education and a lack of the right mindset. Birth is 90% mindset. So I want you right now to take a sticky note and I want you to write, I am a powerful birth queen. I can birth this baby. Just sticky notes all over the house because I want you to enter your birth with confidence and knowledge. And I want you to be ready to embrace the joy and the happiness that birth can be. You don't have to go into it scared and freaking out. When you're educated, when you know the tools, when you have all the things at your disposal, you can actually have a really peaceful birth that you love. You can love your labor. So I really want you guys to focus on that. And I saw that someone asked if induction will play a part in that. Induction, if you go into your induction with education, which is why we have like a $19 induction class, it's insanely low, but we teach you how to navigate your induction mindset, tools, understanding the different things, having a say in what type of induction. You actually have a say in that, okay? And we also teach you how to get your body prepped for labor, whether it's natural induction or medical induction, all for $19. You just have to reply induction. I think that's what you have to do. Now, here's the thing. Whether you're being induced or whether you're spontaneous, fear and anxiety is going to put a loop in your birth. It's going to put a fork in the road. You have to have tools. You have to have your mindset on point, okay? You have to understand, how do I open my hips? You have to understand, where is the baby in alignment in my pelvis? How am I going to move next based on where the baby's at? The baby station is the most powerful thing that you need to know during labor. And this is why when you join my classes, you have the option of adding on our labor bat signal. It's $49. It gives you 12 weeks of tech support from me and 2 doulas. And we have a tool that we call our labor positioning guide or something. I don't remember. And we work through that with you. You can also buy that for $7. It's a printable. I think you put in labor prep guide. I don't know. I don't remember what it is. But we help you really get on point with fetal station. You have to know where your baby is at in your pelvis, because how you move when the baby's above the inlet is way different than the positions you do when the baby's inside the pelvis or coming through the pelvis. So we want you to know how to do that. So when you say slow or stalled labor or lack of cervical dilation, my brain goes to that baby was not positioning its head properly on the cervix. So we have to do some movements for that. We have to relax. We have to get peaceful. We have to breathe properly. And then when you comes to slow and stalled labor, here's what happens, okay? I want you guys to go on a journey with me, all right? We're going to pretend that you are a mother bear. You're in your den, you're in labor. You're laboring, right? You're in your den, you're moving around because bears don't lay on their back with their feet in the leg or stay in bed. They're going to move around. They're going to wiggle their hips. They know how to do it instinctively, right? So you're a mother bear, you're laboring. Things are going good. Then you hear something outside the cave door and you're like, what is that? And it's another animal coming to attack you. You're in labor. You know what happens? Your adrenaline goes up, your oxytocin goes down, you go into fight or flight mode, and you can fight, and your labor slows down so that you don't give birth while you're fighting a lion or whatever bear would fight. I don't know. So our body is designed to slow labor and stop labor if we're under attack. But here's the thing. When you're in the hospital, your body is going to react to certain things just like you're a mama bear in a den getting attacked. So if your doctor comes in really rude and doesn't respect your privacy or doesn't respect your boundaries or comes in and sticks their fingers in your vagina and does a cervical exam without permission, you're going to react just like the mother bear. And you're going to go into the fight or flight mode and your body is going to shut labor down. It's going to slow it down and it's going to stall it. Well, guess what happens next? That same thing that attacked you, right? That came in and made you feel whatever it made you feel, because you don't have to explain yourself. If it makes you feel under attack in any sense of the word, your body's going to go into the right process that it would if you're a mother bear that needs to stop your labor. But in the hospital, if your body does the right thing and slows down or stalls your labor, we don't try to help you work through your mindset. We don't try to help you feel safe. We don't try to make the room more, conducive to safety and respect and honor. What we do is we put you on a cart and roll you into the operating room because your labor stopped. But we've got to understand your body. So yes, this is why you have to understand. This is what education can do for you. Because here's the thing, mama number one that has not taken a birth class, that is not supported with a labor nurse and some doulas like my mama's, who didn't labor at home as long as possible, or maybe has an induction that she had no say, didn't have a voice, and she's feeling increasingly more anxious, increasingly more bullied, increasingly dishonored. Her labor is going to slow down and stall, but she has no idea that it's not her body failing her, it's her body protecting her because her body doesn't want her to give birth to her baby when she doesn't feel safe. It's how it's supposed to be. Like, I'm so worked up about this, you guys. Like, I'm fired up. Now, mama number two has taken my class. She's had every week hanging out with me on Zoom or one of my doulas. She has her labor bat signal. She's in her labor. She's doing her thing. An asshole doctor comes in or someone comes in. Maybe it's her mother-in-law comes in and makes her, starts to get in her head. She immediately takes control and she starts working on her mindset. Maybe she is having some adrenaline coming up from the unexpected and her labor slows down, right? But she knows that she's gone through this experience and she understands that it's okay if her body slowed down, that she just has to work back into her groove. So when her doctor comes in and says, well, it's been 2 hours and you haven't had any change, so we should probably start talking about a C-section because, we don't want to have an emergency situation. We might as well do it now while you're healthy and baby's healthy. So that's what I think. Well, this mom's going to say, you know what? I just went through a really stressful situation. I got anxious. I know that when you get anxious during labor, it slows your labor down. So I'm A-okay, no problem. Let's wait instead of going back to the OR. So here, the majority of the time, what happens is most moms are not aware of that. And they just are like, yeah, you're right. I don't want an emergency C-section. Let's just go ahead and go back. So that's how that works. Okay, so I've already told you the number one thing that you can do to avoid a C-section is to be informed and be educated. You need to take my classes. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. Comment class, join the classes. We'll give you a really good discount if you comment class or reply class or whatever. Join the classes, come to the weekly hangouts. That is a real important part of it because you're going to go like up and down with your emotions. And we want to help you navigate that so that by the time you have the baby, you are freaking ready. And you know what I know from 16 years of labor and delivery service or experience. And you're like, I got this, right? Or you add your labor bat signal, which is $49, add it onto your class. You can add it on around 35 weeks. We started at 36 weeks. It is a private group text message with you, me, and 2 doulas from 36 weeks to 8 weeks postpartum. You cannot find that level of support anywhere else. Anywhere else. My own doulas that help me with it, they charge about $1,000 for that. So just to keep that in perspective, come to the weekly hangouts, do the classes, do them with your partner. Because here's the other thing. Let's go back to Mama Bear, right? Mama Bear, she's laboring, she's doing good, her oxytocin is flowing. That doctor comes in and starts to be a turd, or the nurse comes in, because nurses can be turds too. Or maybe his mom comes in, or your partner's mother comes in. And if your partner is as educated and informed as you, they can nip that crap right in the bud, and they can be a wall between you and anything interrupting your labor flow. So when you take my classes, when you get your labor bat signal, I want your partner to be as involved as you. So we teach our mamas, we have a workshop teaching our mamas to have the partner be familiar with your labor bat signal so they can communicate with us at the point in labor where you can't. 100. Yes, Jenny. Oh, I love my Jenny. All right. So taking you're being informed, being educated, taking the right birth classes. Trust me when I say you do not want to take a hospital birth class. The majority of them are going to educate you and infuse it with policies and procedure. You ain't getting that shit from me. I promise that much. Read books. Go to reputable online resources. If you're going to get education from someone, make sure that they are properly trained, that they have a lot of experience. It takes years to get confident in labor and delivery. And then you have to make sure, and my class does this, we teach you over 50 coping tools. And again, you can comment class to join. We'll send you a coupon. We also teach you everything inside and out of birth interventions, because when your provider walks in and they say, you know, we think we should do this, that, or the other, if you understand when those interventions are appropriate and when they're not, you'll be able to make an informed decision with your provider, because you should be working together as a team. Now, the second thing I'm going to say that is so important, right? These are hand in hand, is choosing the right provider. Now, that is one of the most powerful first trimester decisions you can make, is to choose the right provider. And you need to know the differences between an OB and a midwife. OBs are trained to be surgeons. They're trained to intervene. Midwives are trained in the natural process of birth. So if you're not high risk, you don't need an OB. Use a midwife if it's available to you. And then making sure that you're interviewing the OB. Do your due diligence. Pick one that you are aligned with. Now, I personally recommend you take my classes early in pregnancy, because if you don't know what you don't know, you're not going to know how to pick the right provider. But I can tell you that if your provider makes you feel rushed, if you don't feel heard, if you feel dismissed during your prenatal appointments, that is a really bad sign. If they push off questions you ask and say, oh, we can talk about that later, bad sign. Okay, another thing. So you have to be educated. You're going to take my class. You're going to comment class and come join us. Come to our weekly hangouts. You're going to choose the right provider for you. You're going to get intimate with this person. You might as well like them. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that education, you're going to take your preparation, and you're going to put it into a birth plan. That birth plan needs to represent what you most desire for your birth. And I do not care what random people tell you about birth plans. If people are like, oh, you don't need one, they don't follow it. If they're not following it, you need to step up because they should be following it to the best of their ability. You need to have a birth plan that can communicate your preferences for positioning, for pushing positions, for laboring, for pain management, for interventions, for medications, for pain, coping. And you need to start talking about that early and often. That paper is just compiling it, but those conversations that you have throughout your pregnancy, so important. The next thing that you need to do to avoid the OR, okay, y'all are not going to like it, is you need to be exercising. You need to be moving every day, get some movements in. Ina May Gaskin says to do a ton of squatting. Do squatting. My mom used to tell me to hand mop while I was pregnant, squatting. Maintain your best healthy weight, okay? So if you start at pregnancy and you're already overweight, just maintain your healthy weight. Do not get in your head and stress yourself out over eating and weight gain. Just eat healthy as you can. Still have your little snacks, whatever, but you still want to try to eat as healthy as possible. Work on exercises. Go to see a pelvic floor specialist. Learn how to relax your pelvic floor. Do the squats. Get on your exercise ball. Prenatal yoga, we have inside of our membership. If you join our classes, you get to test out our membership for 30 days. After 30 days, you can cancel or it's $19 a month. But we have prenatal yoga classes. We have nutrition classes. We have baby classes. We have postpartum intimacy classes. We have all sorts of things. I think we have over 70 workshops. And then we have a new expert workshop once or twice a month. Now, another really powerful way to avoid the OR is having labor support. That needs to be an educated support person. If it's your partner, if it's your mom, if it's your sister, your cousin, whoever, they need to take your birth classes with you. If you join my classes, you can give them the login and they can log into your classes. If you join my classes today and you don't know how to get to the app, we have an app, but it's a workaround. Just send us an email and we'll help you download the app or ask in the community. Again, you guys can join our classes today and hang out with us next Wednesday on Zoom. All you have to do is comment class. Now, here's the thing about having support. I could not afford a doula when I was having my 6 babies. I could not afford it, right? So that is why I prayed. I lost sleep over how can I support my students in a way that's affordable, but still gives them access to birth support, educated, trained birth support. So that's why we added on the labor bat signal option. Again, you can click the button when you join the classes. It's $49 for 12 weeks of text support with a labor nurse with 16 years of experience and a doula. And that starts at 36 weeks, unless you're high risk, we'll start it earlier, up until 8 weeks postpartum for $49. We sweated and prayed and really decided how to do that so we could make it affordable to everyone. We have students all over the world and we support them, within reason during the day. Sometimes some of my doulas are nursing at night, so you might get support during the night. But we help you navigate your appointments. We help you navigate induction talk. We help you navigate big baby talk, all the things so that you don't feel alone, because being supported is the other way that you can stay out of the operating room. So you want to have, if you can afford an in-person doula, do it. It's life-changing. But if not, and even my students who have an in-person doula still do our labor bat signal, but you having an educated support person will increase your chances of a successful vaginal delivery, decreases your chances of all the interventions, including C-section. So I cannot emphasize how education, choosing your provider wisely, having a powerful birth plan, staying healthy and active, and having an educated support person will keep you out of the line for the operating room. And that is really what we want. Now, the last thing I want to say is by doing all of that, you bring together a calmer birth environment. When you have a calm and supportive birth environment, your oxytocin flows. Like I was saying, you don't become that mama bear who's going to fight and stop her own labor. So if you didn't hear about the mama bear, once I post this, listen again. But when we create a safe, a respectful, a calm, supportive birthing environment, your body will flow. It will do its thing. Your labor will progress. Now, is it going to go along the timeline that everybody else expects? Maybe not. Your labor might be unique, and that's okay, as long as you and baby are safe. You want to have a sanctuary, a birthing sanctuary. You want to do things like twinkle lights, low lights. You want to do things like, you want to have essential oils, all the different things that make you feel calm. Bring your own blanket, bring your own pillow, pictures of your toddler if you're missing your baby. You want to keep it as calm and safe and supportive as possible for you, which might look different than what your sister did or your mom did. And then during labor, you bust out the tools that you learned in your birth class. We teach you over 50 coping tools and techniques. Use those breathing exercises, visualization, and movement, knowing how to move your body, staying mobile, changing positions. But here's another thing about labor that will keep you out of the OR most likely. If you labor at home as long as possible. Again, why we have the labor VAT signal. My students on average get to the hospital at 7 to 8 centimeters. And we have proof of this, like tons of them, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. That will be the most powerful labor move you can make, is stay at home as long as possible. Because you feel peaceful, you feel supported, you feel calm at home. And then really learning how to speak up and communicate and advocate and ask good questions. You're going to freaking rock this birth. Yes, we do teach positions. We teach all the positions on how to move the baby into the pelvis, through the pelvis, and out of the pelvis. And we also help our moms when they're having some positioning problems. Okay, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't join the classes, now's the time. Comment class and join the classes, and we will get to know you. You become a part of our heart. You will actually know me and my team, and we will know you and be a part of your story. Okay, you guys, thanks for spending some time with me. I'll see you again next Thursday. And as always, the podcast new episode drops on Friday. You can go to the Birth Experience with Labor Nurse Mama and listen to the latest episode. I was just listening to one the other day that is talking about dealing with anxiety. And I was like, man, I forgot how good this interview was. So you should go listen to that. All right, you guys, have a fantastic and a relaxing weekend. Do something to take care of your pregnant self. All right, you guys, have a great day. All right, Mama, thank you for listening today and learning how to avoid a cesarean. I hope you found these tips and insight valuable as you prepare for your incredible birth. Remember, education and preparation are the keys to reducing the likelihood of a C-section. So if you're ready to dive deeper and equip yourself with all the tools and knowledge you need, I'm going to invite you into my comprehensive birth education and loving tribe that we have for you guys. You can find all the details and a special discount for podcast listeners in the show notes. Don't forget, hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with anyone you think that might benefit from it. Your support is so much to us. It just means the world. Okay, you guys, see you again next Friday. Bye for now.